Hey guys, Broheen here from the Gamers Emporium channel, bringing you a little mage guide on StormLock. Now, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's Stormcaller with Warlock. It plays a lot like Stormalist, but you have to manage dots. So, like I said, it is exactly what it is. It's Stormcaller and Warlock. So you have AOE abilities, but with the use of your mage armor, it turns basically a lot of your AOE abilities into single target abilities, and then you have to manage dots. So with the new masteries, this becomes really easy, and I believe this is one of those specs that used to be good way back when, and it kind of got put on the side and never touched again until they nerfed until they boosted Stormcaller. My bad. So once they boosted it, a lot of these specs came back. A lot of the hybrid specs came back. So most of the hybrid specs, to my belief, I believe, used Stormcaller in them. And Stormcaller ended up being so shitty that people didn't use them anymore. So taking a look at this spec, this one is the original variation that I had at first was 44.26.6, I believe. Now I've changed that to 42.28.6. And the points in Stormcaller go in 5 in Storm Energy, 4 in High Voltage, 1 in Living Storm, 5 in Cyclogenesis, 2 in Conductive Medium, 3 in Vengeful Storm, 6 in Voltaic Strength, 1 in Hailstorm, 5 in Supercell, 1 in Relentless Hail, 2 in Superconductor, 1 in Endless Storm, and then up 2 rows, you put 3 in Unstable Atmosphere, 2 in Supercharge, and 1 in Colliding Storms. Now, the 28 in Warlock formerly used to be 26. I took the points out of Endless Storm because your abilities hit so frequently, your electric abilities hit so frequently, that a 33% chance to refresh Living Storm it's going to happen anyways, regardless. So, but what we did is we took this point and we ended up going with Draining Bolt and Radiate Death to give you that little bit of, in case you have AOE, the spec, you can actually change it a little bit more into an AOE spec on the fly, which is kind of cool, which is why I like it. So the 28 points of Warlock, 3 in Improved Leech Life, 5 in Magical Affinity, 1 in Draining Bolt, 1 in Vitality, 4 in Opportunity, 1 in Nedra's Grasp, 3 in Crippling Terror, 3 in Seeping Corruption, 1 in Improved Draining Bolt, 5 in Improved Mage Armor, and then 1 in Radiate Death. So now to talk about that, I know 1 in Vitality seems kind of pointless, but in order to get to the next tier, I needed another point, and because your Life Leech now gets refreshed with Mental Sinister, Healing Expertise. This mastery lets you, when you recast Dark Touch, it also applies Life Leech. So this becomes very pointless that we figured out. And we just put the 1 point in Draining Bolt for an extra ability in the spam, and some self-heals, that kind of whatnot. And then we had to put the other point somewhere, and the only place it really made sense to get up to this tier was to put the 1 in Vitality. So, alright, then the 6 in Harbinger is kind of obvious. Eldritch Knowledge is 5, and then 1 in Blazing Light. So, and your masteries are as follows: Arcanist Shield, Healing Expertise, Mental Sinister, Methodical Destruction, and Arcane Manipulation. So let's take a look at the macros already, get them out of the way. Let's see, Stormcaller. There's only 3 macros that I use, in which actually only 2 of them are used on this spec. I keep a lot of stuff on separate keys. Now you can combine some of this stuff, but it's not very many keys to begin with. If you take out the utility, I know my bars kind of look kind of full, but some of its utility, like Gathering Storm and Cyclone, Ride the Wind utility, you really won't use Mortality all that much. I'm going to explain why it's there though in a moment. But your first macro for the spam is this. It'll be in the description, so I'm not going to go through it. Same with your Opportunity proc, which this is almost redundant, but I keep it there just because, just in case. So it has a point, but I wish it had a better point. So, but it is necessary. So, to look at the bar, your armor that you're going to use is Storm Armor, and then you can have Nedra's Might on your bar, but most of the time in these new Nightmare Tide experts, someone's going to have a buff that's going to overwrite that. So, but for soloing, maybe soloing or maybe in a 5-man and it doesn't, but definitely not in a raid. But in a 5-man, this might come in handy to boost endurance. Use Lightning Blade and then the Annihilation Crystal. On the bar up here, we have Sacrifice Life Damage keyed by itself, Break Free, Storm Locust, Static Flux, and Arcane Manipulation. These are kind of your openers, these three here. That's what I would call pre-pull. So pre-pull, you want to cast Storm Locust, Static Flux, and Arcane Manipulation, which all of these do not generate threat when they're cast. So you can have the mob targeted and you won't start the combat, which is nice. So then we put our spam and our proc here. I have my dots on 3, 6, and 9, Radiate Death on 4, Raging Storm on 5, Mortality on 7, and an interrupt. Well, this one does everything. It's a pull, an interrupt, and a purge on my number 8 button. And then Gathering Storm over here for if I have to gain mana back, which never happens on a mage, so might as well not even put that there, but hey, why not? So, let's buff up. Now the rotation is very simple. You basically start with your... Here, we're going to target this guy here. We're going to start with our pre-pull, which is my Shift 1, Shift 2, and Shift 3. Get all those dots up. And you see the meter's not running yet. So then before anything else, you basically debuff them with Storm Locust. You give yourself 5 stacks of Electrified with Static Flux. And you give yourself the next 5 damaging abilities to deal extra damage for 30 seconds. So now I'm going to wait for these to come around while I talk about the rotation, but you start off with those 3, and then you apply all your dots. Now Dark Touch is going to put up Dark Touch, Life Leech, and Nedge's Grasp. Right after that, if you have AOE, it's smart to hit Radiate Death to spread that immediately and start stacking the numbers on the meter. And then, but for single target, you want to go your Dark Touch, it'll cast the other 2, then Blazing Light, then Living Storm, and then you start with a spam. Once you hardcast an Icicle, then switch to Raging Storm, and Raging Storm, while that's being casted, will actually remove the cooldown of an Icicle, so then you recast your Icicle, and after your second Icicle, the one that follows the Raging Storm, you reapply your dots manually. So, but you never want to reapply your dots instead of casting an Icicle or Raging Storm. It's more DPS to cast those than it is to take the time and the global cooldowns to reapply 3 dots. So, and by using Raging Storm, if it's timed out right, you should always be getting Living Storm refreshed. 33% chance, but while using Raging Storm, it also procs Forked Lightning every 2 seconds. So you have plenty of hits in there to grant that 33% chance. That's down from 100% now, 33% chance to refresh Living Storm. So, and if you're up close in your spam, Storm's Fury is included in there, so that's why you want to use the Lightning Blade, so you can actually get some melee attacking. And then if you have AOE in melee, you can use Mortality and gain a bunch of health back and do 85,000 damage over 6 seconds. So it's there for that reason. So now the Opportunity proc, like I said, sort of doesn't have a point, but does. Icicle is in your main spam, so if you get Opportunity procced, then it's going to cast an Icicle anyways, but if Icicle's on cooldown, you need something else to proc, which the next best thing in this spec to proc is a Forked Lightning, because not only will it hit, actually if you have your armor on, it'll hit single target, and it hits somewhat hard. On a crit right now, I can get it to hit around 35 to 40k, so it's really not bad. If you want to go all out AoE, you can use, sorry about the noise there, you can take off, you can cancel Storm Armor, and I believe, nope, we don't have the other armor, so you can just take off Storm Armor or create a cancel buff Storm Armor macro, and it'll remove the buff and allow things to, it'll increase damage taken, and it'll decrease single target air and water attacks, but it'll make your Forked Lightning hit everything, which means your Raging Storm is going to hit everything, your Hailstorm is going to hit everything. So for if you have AoE, you can just click this buff off either up here or make a macro to do it, and quickly turn the fight into an AoE fight for you, and then when you want to go back to single target, you can just reapply the buff. So that's really nice utility, and it's very versatile. So what we're going to do now is show you the rotation, and I'm going to hold it for about a minute, and we'll check the meter. So, okay, so now that we're in the guild dimension, we're going to go against this raid boss practice dummy. I know it's a 62, but the point will still get across here. I just don't want any AOE. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll quick do 1 minute of single target, and then we'll do 1 minute of AOE back in Tempest Bay. So, so we're going to apply Storm Armor. We're going to do our pre-pull buffs, sacrifice life damage, and then go right into our dots. So there was an opportunity proc, so I took the time to actually use it, and then hit Raging Storm. After the second Icicle, remember to refresh Dark Touch and Blazing Light, and then go back to spamming. Your Raging Storm should take care of refreshing Living Storm. And if the fight lasts longer than a minute, make sure you refresh your Storm Locus. Alright, so 1 minute has passed, and we have done about 35k. So Raging Storm is definitely almost 19% of the damage done. Icicle another 18%. So those are obviously your two strongest abilities. So alright, let's go parse AOE with this. This is going to be kind of fun. Okay guys, so now what's awesome about AOE in this is you can just right click up here, take your Storm Armor off, and get standing close in melee, and it's the same exact rotation other than you can hit your mortality. Now, if hitting mortality is completely up to you, I'm thinking maybe I would do it right after you do your refreshing of the set of buffs. It has a 1 minute cooldown, so probably the sooner the better. So actually, let's just roll with it. We'll start here, click this guy, do our pre-pull, sacrifice life, put up Dark Touch, Radiate Death, get up your other ones, and then Mortality right away. Probably should have put Hailstorm up first. Oh, there's an Icicle. Now your Raging Storm is going to fork lightning everything every 2 seconds. But then it's not going to remove your cooldown, so maybe I would do it right after the Raging Storm. So again, I haven't really played too much with it, but now we're at the point where we're going to refresh the dots and Radiate Death again. Spam. Get this Icicle, Raging Storm. And see, we're doing 67k, 68k, 70k. Jeez, that's pretty good. Don't forget, if your sacrifice life damage is down, you can use your static flux. Get up these dots again. Radiate Death. Raging Storm. There's an Icicle, and Mortality's ready, so we'll make sure we get that out. And we're maintaining somewhere between 60 to 70k DPS AOE. So that's what's awesome about this spec, is you can do both easily without having to switch specs. So whenever you want to go back to single target, just click Storm Armor, put it back on, and you're back to single target. It's as easy as that. It's about as easy as switching a chloro between raid healing and tank healing. So, but anyways, on that note, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments about the spec, please let me know, and remember to sign up for the next plat giveaway. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.